say?
Amen.
Another beautiful day that the Lord has made for us to come and worship. We come to worship the Lord in spirit and truth. And we, as we stop and as we pause, and we think, how beautiful are the steps of Jesus. When he was walking this earth with all the different people, what he was trying to accomplish and what he accomplished. But he run into a lot of roadblocks, a lot of hard-headed, uncircumcised by the heart people. If you have your Bibles, turn to the 16th chapter, the book of Matthew. We find these words, starting with verse 1. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came and tempted the desires him that he would show them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, you say it will be a fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red. Glory, O you hypocrites! You can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the time. Back even when I was growing up as a little boy, I used to hear the old timers say, red skies in the evening and the red skies in the morning meant they take a warning. And I just think of, here it is in the Bible that Jesus said to them, you wondered about everything but the right thing. You can't even tell the difference in one thing from another. There be no signs from heaven. There be no signs of anything other than what I put out there. And you know, when I look at the scripture and I think of what he was trying to say to them and what he said to them, it says in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red. And Lord, oh you hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the time. A wicked and adulterous generation shall no sign be given unto them. Given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonah. And he left them and departed. Now, you know, when they was looking for a sign, they was looking for something. They wanted something that just jumped out at them, grabbed a hold of them, and shook them in place. And you know, when I think about that, I think of this exactly what people are looking at today. They want something to jump out at them, grab a hold of them, and shake the pudding out of them, as I call it. Wake them up to the fact that Jesus is still alive. He's saying here to the scribes and Pharisees, the Sadducees, you look at everything else, but you don't look at the right thing. You're looking at everything else out here in the world, but you're not looking to God. You can't even figure out things for yourself. Wicked, adulterous generation. Seeking for a sign. And he says there'll be no sign. The only sign that he talks about in this is later, we'll get it later on. But I just think of how people are so unconcerned about life, about living, and about getting along together while we're down here on this earth. Somebody said the other day that people were fighting and scratching and going on with one another, and said, how are they going to get along in heaven? And you know, it just opened up the door right there for me. I said, they ain't going to be in heaven. I said, how can you fight and scratch amongst you down here on this earth and then expect to go to heaven? He ain't going to allow that in heaven. If that heart is not true with God, it's not going to be, you're not going into eternity in heaven. If you're not a believer, if you don't believe in the Word, and you haven't followed the Word, then you're not going to heaven. It's that simple. And I just think of all the tragedies that we hear about. Just this past week. What's got wrong with people? They have just left the Lord out of their life completely. What's wrong with people? You know, we talk about it in our Sunday school classes on Sunday morning. And I guess Wednesday nights and Sunday nights too, we talk about it. But there's people that just have turned their back on God and everything that the church stands for. Jesus had trouble with the disciples also because some of them didn't believe either. Some of them had a different feeling, a different idea, and a different way of looking at things. It says there in that 4th verse, a wicked and adulterous generation, seeking after a sign, and there shall not no sign be given it, but the sign of Jonah the prophet. The prophet of Jonah. And he left them and departed. He took all he just laid it out there. And when his disciples were come together, they said, forgotten to take bread. Now mind you, you know, just previous to this chapter here, Jesus gathered the 5,000 together and fed them all and had stuff left over. But here the disciples come along, not thinking about tomorrow, not thinking about the next meal. They didn't prepare to bring anything with them. So it's just like us. When we get up in the morning, we go scatting around through the house and we forget to stop and thank God for another day of life. Or thank Him for another meal that's been put before them. They did not think. When they was on the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. And Jesus said unto them, take heed and be aware of the lawlessness of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. Don't follow after these people, but get yourself in line and follow after the teaching of God. It says, and they reason among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread. Didn't make no preparations for the next meal. I had an old gentleman, he would get through eating breakfast, and by 9:30 or 10 o'clock he would come over and say, what's for dinner? When he got through eating dinner, then an hour or two later he'd be worried about what we were going to have for supper. I said, well, Pops, you never did go hungry, so you're not going to go hungry now. Because I said, there'll always be food there for you. God will provide. But we've got to put ourselves in order, and we've got to put ourselves in gear in order to get it. We can't go idle along like an old pug jumping automobile that's about all it do, just idle along, without any cares at all in the world. If it run, that was fine. If it didn't run, that's still all right. But that's not the way it is when it comes down to our Christian life. We need to be on fire for God every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We need to let our light shine. And we need to let the world know out there that Jesus is still alive. Jesus is still on the fire and light. He's still there. And every day that we get up and every day that we put our clothes on and every day that we get out to do anything, we should take the Lord with us, because we don't know what we're going to run into. Satan's out there. I guarantee you. I guarantee you he'll be out there. When you get where you're going, he'll be there. Because he always has been. And he always will be. Because he don't want anything good to come your way. He don't want anything good to happen. He don't want anything happening good. The disciples didn't make the proper arrangements, so they didn't bring no bread. When Jesus perceived, he said unto them, O of ye little faith, why reason among you yourself, because you have brought no bread? How many times he said, "Oh, ye of little faith"? Where is our faith? Where is our faith in everyday life? Is it in the things of the world, or is it in the things of Jesus? Do you try to take care of everything yourself? Do you not yet understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000? And how many bread, how many baskets you took up? He's asking his disciples, don't you remember that feast that we had? We set the 5,000 down, and we had the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes. And we fed 5,000. Nobody went away hungry, and there was 12 baskets full left over. It says 7 loaves and a few little fishes there. But just think about it. And I remember we was doing a Wednesday night Bible study, and I remember this. We was discussing this. And I remember what Bruce said. He said, just think about it. Every time somebody reached in that basket, they were able to get a piece of fish and a piece of bread. Think about that. All 5,000 of them, more than that probably when you count the babies and children and wives and all. That preparations were made there. That everybody had plenty to eat. God will take care of us. We've got to do it His way. Not the way of Joe or somebody else, but do it His way. So He reminds them of those 5 loaves and the 5,000 people. And then another 7 loaves and 4,000 people. And, you know, just how that He takes care of His people. How He looks after them. And I just wonder, how can people be so neglected when it comes to soul salvation as they are today? How that they can just push it out of their mind. He says, how is it that you do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that you should beware of the heavenly, of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. They was hard cases, because it was hard to convince that anyone else was right. They was always right. They didn't want anybody else to be right, but God proved to them that they were wrong. When Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say that I am? And they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist. Some says Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. But he said unto them, but whom say ye that I am? Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered and said to him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. This is the church that he was talking about. And he said, I'll give you the key. I'll give unto you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt be loosed on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Then charged he his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Jesus the Christ. Do you think that they could keep it to themselves when he said, don't tell nobody who I am? Everywhere he went from then on, the word spread that he was there. Peter was recognized, but Peter was like a lot of us. We opened our mouth and inserted our foot, because Peter got in trouble quite a bit by following and not following the rules as he should. But I believe that we today, we need to step back and look at ourselves and look at our own life and ask ourselves the question, is God pleased with what he sees in me? Is God pleased with what he sees in me? That Jesus said unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up the cross to follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find What does it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? The Son of Man shall come in the glory of the Father with his angels. Then he shall reward every man according to his work. Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. And that's when Jesus returns to take his church home. I believe that we need a closer walk with the Lord. The only way we can do that is dedicate ourselves to his service. Give justice where justice is due. Pay our dues, as we call it. Give the Lord the best that we have, and do the best that we can at whatever job we're doing. If there's a need in the house this morning, we just ask that you survey yourself and make things right. I can only live for myself. I can't live for nobody else. But today's the day of salvation. Today you can start that walk with Jesus. As we stand and we sing.